The Houston Rockets took Game 4 against the Los Angeles Lakers, and here's the big picture takeaway. This series is far from over, but it's trending hard in the Lakers' direction, and that's exactly what makes Game 4 so interesting to break down. Houston shot 40% from three-point range in this game, and when you boil basketball down to its simplest truth, it's really about one thing. Are you making shots? Are they good shots? Are you moving the ball? When this version of the Rockets, with Kevin Durant sidelined, makes a collective decision to play together and share the basketball, they look like a completely different team. Game 4 was a statement game for them. It was Houston saying loud and clear, if we're going out swinging. Their effort and energy flat out exceeded what the Lakers brought to the floor, and the Lakers, frankly, looked lost compared to how they played in the previous game. Now, here's something that should raise serious eyebrows on the Lakers side. The player who took the most shots for Los Angeles in Game 4 was Eason, 12 attempts. That is a problem. That is a doomsday scenario when you've got LeBron James on the roster and he's not being the force he was in the first 3 games. And Sengun, look, I've been saying it all series, he looked rough out there. Even his 33-point game didn't really impress, and this game was no different in terms of the offensive scheme. There still aren't real set plays being drawn up to get these guys clean looks. They're standing at the top of the key trying to create off the dribble on their own. But here's the other side of that coin. When Reed Shepherd is hitting, when Eason is hitting, when Jabari is hitting, the Rockets can compete with anybody, with or without KD. That's just basketball. Any team in this league, if you're making shots, you can win. If you're bricking them, you're getting blown out. That was the difference between the Lakers Game 3 win and the Rockets Game 4 win. In Game 3, Marcus Smart was hitting. Luke Kennard was hitting. Rui was hitting. Everybody was connecting. In Game 4, the Lakers shot 22% from 3. 22%. When you're a team built around spacing and ball movement, shooting 22% from deep is a recipe for disaster, and it showed. So what's the strategic adjustment for the Rockets heading into Game 5? It's actually pretty straightforward. Don't get the ball out of LeBron's hands early. Let the shot clock bleed down. Force him to hold it deep into the clock so that when he does give it up, there's no time to swing the ball around and find the open shooter. Getting it out of his hands late, that's the better chess move for Houston if they want to keep the score close and steal a game in LA. But outside of that, Lakers in 6, this series could very realistically be sitting at 2-2 right now. The Rockets let Game 3 slip away. The Lakers stepped up. LeBron hit that clutch 3, as he so often does, and they held on for the win. That's the kind of play that tilts a series. Now, switching over to the Rockets' perspective on their Game 4 survival, they played desperate basketball, backs against the wall, season on the line, home crowd rocking behind them. They brought a different level of energy. That's what happens when your season is about to end. You think you've been playing hard before, but there's another gear that kicks in, and Houston found it. They could have folded after the gut punch of Game 3. That kind of emotional collapse happens all the time in the playoffs, but they bounced back. They played with urgency, and now the question is whether they can bring that same energy on the road in Los Angeles. And here's the challenge with that. The Lakers play excellent basketball at home. They shoot the ball well in front of their crowd, but the old saying still holds: defense travels. So Houston has to come in with a tight game plan, limit turnovers, hold the Lakers to 1 shot per possession. Don't let them get into a rhythm. They did a better job in Game 4 of keeping an eye on Luke Kennard, forcing him off his spots, making him put the ball on the floor instead of catching and firing. That awareness has to carry over. Defense travels, you take care of the ball, you contest every shot, you make it a dogfight, and then you find out whether the shots fall for you. As for the bigger picture, let's be direct. This series is over in 5. The Lakers let off the gas in Game 4. They looked like a team trying to get through a game rather than win it. Only 3 players reached double figures in scoring. They turned the ball over at an alarming rate, and Houston simply did what a team fighting for its season is supposed to do. But this is the Rockets' ceiling. This is what they are. Houston was overrated all season long, and it's showing now. If they still had Dillon Brooks and Jalen Green, this is a different series entirely. Maybe the Lakers don't even get out of the first round. But that front office made their choice, moved away from those young pieces, and now they're paying the price. KD sat down, basically took himself out of the series, and without him, this team just doesn't have the firepower to close out a squad led by LeBron James. And speaking of LeBron, at 40 years old, taking just 9 shots in Game 4, recording his third lowest scoring output, you can see what was happening. He coasted. He did what he needed to do, didn't push himself unnecessarily on the road, and now they go back home to LA for Game 5, where he's expected to flip the switch back to beast mode. That's the calculation. Save your legs, protect your body, go get the win at home. He's been carrying this team. The OKC sweep is already done, and Oklahoma City is sitting there waiting. You don't want to grind out more games than you have to at 40, but Game 5 at home, he's going to be a different animal. Now, one of the major storylines from this series that has to be addressed, the Lakers' turnover problem. In 3 of the 4 games this series, the Lakers have had 20-plus turnovers, and somehow they're still up 3-1. Houston set a franchise record with 17 steals in Game 4 alone. That's not a coincidence. That's a team that identified tendencies, watched the film, and executed a game plan. The Rockets saw where LeBron was operating, how he was playing out of certain positions, and they shifted their defense to force turnovers. It worked. But the bigger concern isn't even this series. It's what comes next. Oklahoma City ranks near the top of the league in forcing turnovers. If the Lakers are going into a second round matchup with the Thunder and still hemorrhaging the ball like this, that's a serious issue. You cannot turn the ball over at this rate against OKC and expect to advance. But for now, let's focus on what matters. Going into Game 5, what does Houston actually need to do differently? Because the Lakers are going to watch film. They're going to see what worked in Game 4 for the Rockets and come up with a counter. The adjustment for LA is to take more shots. LeBron cannot take 9 attempts again at home. That's non-negotiable, and clean up the turnovers. Houston's game plan has to look more like Game 4 than Games 1 through 3, less dependence on set plays, more urgency, more of that desperate energy. Because if they can't replicate that desperation on the road, this thing ends quickly. And here's the historical context that matters. 159 teams in NBA playoff history have been down 3-0. 0 of them have come back to win the series. Houston is now down 3-1. 13 teams have rallied from 3-1 deficits to win. Is this one of those teams? The honest answer is no, not with KD on the shelf, not against a team with LeBron James and a veteran roster that knows how to close. If the Lakers somehow let this series go with KD out of the picture and with no Luka, no Austin Reeves, that would be a catastrophic collapse, a storyline that would follow this franchise for years. But it won't come to that. This series wraps up in 5. LeBron comes home to LA. The crowd is electric, and the Lakers close it out. After that, the offseason questions start immediately, starting with Kevin Durant's fit in Houston. He's looked disengaged. He walked away when the moment got tough. That contract, that roster, that situation, since something has to change in the summer, whether it's moving Durant or finding a true co-star, the Rockets have a lot of rebuilding to do if they want to be genuine contenders. And if they still had Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green alongside this core, this series looks completely different. That's just the reality.